A recent survey, this is what people said about what holds them back, right? 70% of people said they don't have regular time for creative or strategic thinking. They don't have the ability to focus on one thing at a time or have an opportunity to do what they enjoy. And the reason for that boils down to a couple things I'm going to talk about. One is complexity, right? All the things with meetings and emails and putting out fires. And the other thing is the result of that, which is complacency. Everything is just fine. We don't want to rock the boat. So until we can actually get rid of things, people aren't going to start to want to do more things. So let's talk about that a little bit. How do we actually get people to change so they stop doing things like not wanting to actually do something new? There are companies that are big, right, that are complex, that actually embrace change. And if they can do it, you can do it. And let me give you some examples of what I mean. So let me talk about Shell. We work a lot with oil companies and energy companies. Here's a company, by their words, that have more money than God. Their words. They do not have to change. There are very large oil reserves. Many of you know this. Oil will be around for a very long time. You will be dead, your grandchildren will be dead, and your great-grandchildren will all be dead before we run out of oil. The competition is alternative fuels. So what they realize is, even though they could rest on their laurels and keep the status quo, they need to change. And they need to go from becoming a company that extracts energy to growing it. What does that mean? The future is all about who you hire. The future is the skills that you hire. So what they have to do is they can't hire people anymore that are geoscientists, they have to hire bioscientists. So guess who their biggest competition is for talent? Pharmaceutical companies. That never would have happened 10 years ago. Or maybe if you're a car company like BMW, you realize that in 20 years, most people will live in cities 30 million or more. There is not enough room for them to own cars. The infrastructure does not exist. People cannot own cars. So what do? You do mobility systems, right? You don't even own the car. You just help people rent it out. You own the systems in the car. Or you work with universities, like this one right here with MIT, and you create mobility pods that actually expand down to the fifth of the size of a parking space, and you can park it like a bike. Mobility systems. And then the final one I love is if you're in publishing, for example. And if you are, I am very sorry. It's a tough gig. But if you're Macmillan, you hire a VC, you give him $100 million, and you say that he can only invest in companies that will put them out of business. And what they mean is get way beyond things like the ebook, get to things like sensory reading. Has anyone here read a sensory book? Sensory books are books that you can read now, but you have a lot of hardware with it. Or in the future, you can feel the book while you read it, right? So if you're reading a book and it's hot outside like it is here, you start to sweat. Or if the character breaks up with his girlfriend, you get a little upset. And there was a great blogger that was talking about this. He said, I don't want anybody in New York that's reading 50 Shades of Grey to be able to read a sensory book. So what are these companies doing? If they don't have to change, but they are, this is what you need to be doing. It's called proactive obsolescence. Why wouldn't you change before somebody puts the change on you?